You know, NOAA has always been really supportive and been lucky to engage with people with organizations researching albinism, and some amazing groups that are doing that. But it's always been kind of on a informal basis. Well, finally, NOAA has established this committee to formalize the process of being a part of the research community and supporting it, and including giving, is it 3 grants that the NOAA Research Committee is now granted for albinism research? Great. Well, let's start off by having everyone on this committee introduce yourselves and let everyone know what your role is here.
I'll start. Good afternoon. Thank you for coming, everyone. Unless you've been holed up in your room for this entire conference, my name is Karen Bly. I'm the Executive Director of NOAA, and you're probably tired of hearing from me. But I do want to say the research program that NOAA has established was one of the most exciting things about NOAA when I was joining them last year, because I have very little research experience, and this is something, obviously, as a person with albinism, is near and dear to my heart. So I'm excited to be on this committee and excited to see what path forward this has for NOAA.
Hi everyone, my name is Carrie Getz. I am a mother of a 17-year-old with albinism, but I am actually here in an official capacity as the Associate Director of Data Science and Health Informatics at the National Eye Institute. But I'm happy to be part of the NOAA Research Program Board with all these lovely folks, and yeah, I will pass it on to Lauren.
Hi everybody, I'm Diana McCown, and parent of 3 kids with albinism. And this program coming to fruition last year was pretty much a stars aligning type situation between funding being available and people coming together. So I am super excited to be part of this committee.
Hello, my name is Donna Appel. I have a daughter with HPS type 1, and I am an ICU nurse in the past, and the Executive Director of the Advanced Complex Syndrome Network, and a board member of NOAA for 100 years. And I am really so excited to have this research program. And like Di said, it was really the stars were aligning to get all this research program going with NOAA. I'm very interested in research, as you can well imagine, representing the HPS people, but I think research is like a super special thing for us all to get involved in. So I'm very delighted to be hanging with you guys.
Also on the committee are Susan Ballas, who is with the Vision for Tomorrow's Foundation, and Emma Brinkley, who's not only a NOAA board member, but she by day is also an epidemiologist. So they both bring their time and talent to the committee as well.
So let's start with you, Donna. Share a little about why it's important that we research albinism.
Well, as you know, in the United States, it's considered a rare disorder and a rare condition if it's less than 200,000 people. So albinism fits in that category as a rare condition. And researching albinism can really improve scientific understanding of the physiologic impact of melena on skin and on eye development and function. This is really important for us, I believe, because we'd like to make sure people are not dying of skin cancer, and wouldn't it be lovely to get some relief of photophobia, perhaps, something like that. This is all things that we should be definitely interested in. But I think as an organization, as a nonprofit, I talked about this in the meetings that we've had all day, I think it's really important for us to organize ourselves to actually be able to tell the researchers what is important to us. What is it that we want to get researched? So hearing from you, getting people involved in it, we'll actually be able to, kind of guide research where we think that it's important. And basic science and social science findings from albinism research can actually be transferable to more common disorders. So it's, it helps a lot of people. It might help a lot of people. But I really do want to say, from the bottom of our hearts, that the NOAA research program is very grateful for any support that you've given us and any support in the future. We're really excited to have this endeavor continue.
So, starting up a new program for NOAA and having a funding cycle within the first year, I mean, that's a pretty impressive accomplishment, it sounds like. Can you share with us a little bit about that process? And, you know, for example, where did you look for program structure guidance? Was there a funding source identified? You know, how are we paying for this research that we're funding here? And how does NOAA have any, does NOAA have any scientific advisors?
So I think that's me.
Okay.
So, as I mentioned earlier, it was very much stars coming together. We had a core group of researchers that were interested in coming together and having conversation, and at the same time, we had a very generous offer of startup funding from Vision for Tomorrow. So those two pieces coming together really allowed us to create the research program that subsequently allowed us to award funding within the first year. And so what that ended up looking like is, once we were approved to create a research program, we established a research committee, which is up here, and then we also established a board of a scientific advisory board, which is Murray Brilliant, Dr. Brooks, and Dr. Joseph Carroll. Sorry, Joe. So then that led us into our inaugural grant cycle. So we had to start from the beginning and develop the cycle. We had a lot of subject matter experts that we leaned heavily on to create structure, and then that rolled out into, we ended up awarding 3 grants. We awarded an established researcher grant for $50,000 and then a pilot grant or new innovation grant for $25,000. But what we realized when the applications came in is that within the established researcher grant, we actually had some great applications, and we ended up awarding 2 grants within that area. So we awarded one to Columbia University with Dr. Carol Mason as the principal investigator. And, her lab team and collaborators proposed the project Cell and Molecular Defects in the Developing Albino Eye Lead to an Impaired Binocular Circuit. What does the RPE do? Their work aims to reveal the causes of altered connections between the albino retina and the brain, which ultimately lead to poor stereo vision. And then we awarded a second grant to Dr. Bino as principal investigator, and his lab team and collaborators will be looking at linking. Thank you. Thank you. To retinal development by comparing OCA8 and OCA1 models. This project aims to explore different cellular and developmental models of OCA8 compared to a major type of OCA1 in order to better understand the genesis of ocular pathology at the molecular level. So those were the 2 established researcher grants, and both were awarded $50,000.
Oh, I don't know how this thing works. Was it played before? You know what? You can change it to be connected to the projector on the budgets. Totally okay, so. I'm completely incompetent to do what I'm doing right now, by the way. So if we go to we'll come over to the sound. That's one thing.
Go the other direction.
Yeah, I can't figure out. She's connected to the right. She's connected to the projector.
I thought on the projector I saw that there would be
Let's try that. So then you want to change it back to the other, to your internal. You want to change it back to the real time. Thank you for your patience.
That's science. This is computer science.
We might need a grant to figure out how hotel IT infrastructure has to be so complicated. So wait a minute, when did they discover OCA 8? I remember when they found OCA 4, that was a long time ago.
That is so far above my pay grade.
Okay.
I'm Sophie Shahrazad.
I think it's shipped at 5.
So it's my pleasure to provide you with this update of our project that was funded by NOAA in January this year. I'm Sophie Shahrazad. I'm working with Benoit Ardelera and heading the project of exploring OK8 in different models to understand retinogenesis misregulation in patients with albinism. So when we wrote the project last year, it was shortly after we had identified BCT as a new gene for albinism. And what we did then was to start exploring the corresponding mouse model and make a first description of the major anomalies. This was published last month, and our major finding concerns the marked developmental anomaly of the retinal pigment epithelium that we can see here, with its defect in pigment granules and a loose association of the cells. So we are currently exploring this further in comparison with the standard OK1 mouse as stated in the project. One sign of albinism that is shared between mice and men is the misrouting of the optic nerves that occurs during development. This can be assessed in patients by functional measures. So we just did that on our 2 patients and found that indeed they both suffer from fatal small misrouting. We are now collaborating with Alexandre Repson in Paris to quantify optic nerve projections in our mouse model. And we expect to publish this data before the end of the year. Now, L-DOPA is thought to play a major role in retinogenesis. So we have started monitoring levels of L-DOPA in OK8 mice, and we show that in the postnatal eye, L-DOPA production is significantly lowered. So we are currently testing L-DOPA in the earliest stages when it is believed to orchestrate retinal differentiation, and we will combine this analysis with follow-up of early retinal markers. As mentioned in our written project, this strategy will also be performed in a very useful model, which is the xenopus membrane. In this model, you can knock down a gene in one eye and compare its phenotype to the untouched eye of the same membrane. So we have designed all the molecular tools, morpholinos and CRISPR-Cas9 sequences, and we are currently testing them like shown here. In cultured melanocytes now, we have knocked out 5 major genes of albinism, including DCT, and we can compare the phenotypes of these clones at the molecular and cellular level. This has already revealed interesting functional interactions, which we hope to publish next year. Finally, as stated in the project, we have now isolated fibroblasts from one of our DCT patients, and we are currently expanding them to generate OKRP cells and retinal organoids. So all this work should contribute to a better understanding of the retinal pathology and should benefit to all patients with albinism regardless of their genetic makeup. So we thank NOAA for their support as well as our collaborators our collaborators that are listed here, and we thank you for your attention.
Great, thank you. So NOAA has also awarded Dr. Leah Byrne from the University of Pittsburgh the 2022 Pilot New Innovations Program Grant Award worth $25,000. So Dr. Byrne and her lab team and collaborators presented to the board new approaches for AAV-mediated gene therapy to treat autism. The Byrne Lab has leveraged their state-of-the-art viral vector pipeline to develop new gene therapies for OCA1 and to investigate the molecular mechanisms underlying retinal disease in OCA1 patients. They aim to lay the foundation for new treatments that will ameliorate visual impairment in patients with OCA1. And Dr. Byrne has also presented to the community a video that you're going to play for us.
Hello, NOAHCon 2022. We are very excited to tell you a little bit about the project that we've been working on. So my name is Leah Byrne. I'm an assistant professor in the departments of ophthalmology and neurobiology. And my background is in developing gene therapies for inherited retinal.
See if we can get that a little louder for us.
There we go.
Hello, NOAHCon 2022. We are very excited to tell you a little bit about the project that we've been working on. So my name is Leah Byrne. I'm an assistant professor in the departments of ophthalmology and neurobiology. And my background is in developing gene therapies for inherited retinal degeneration. We are very grateful and excited to have received some funding from NOAA to work on developing gene therapies to treat the effects of albinism in the eye. And I'm also excited to introduce you guys to Allie, who is an MD PhD student working in my lab on this project. So Allie, you want to introduce yourself and give sort of an overview of the project?
Yeah, so hi, my name is Allie. Like Leah said, I am a MD PhD student at the University of Pittsburgh. Very excited to be working on this project. So as Leah said, we are developing a gene therapy to reduce the effects of albinism in the eye. Specifically, we are using a virus that is able to deliver a healthy pigment-producing gene to the back of the eye, and this replaces the gene that's non-functional in OCA1 that doesn't actually produce any pigment. So our goal is to improve vision and reduce light sensitivity for individuals living with albinism, and at the same time we're hoping to better understand some of the reasons why a lack of pigment disrupts visual function at the cell level. We're so grateful to receive funding from NOAA, and this will help us reach our goals and hopefully improve the lives of people living with OCA1.
So Allie, what are you excited about learning through the process of working on gene therapy for albinism?
Yeah, so I'm very excited on learning how to develop a therapy at the bench, at the lab, that we can deliver into the clinic and have a real impact on patient lives.
Me too. So with that in mind, I wonder if we should show them a little bit of the lab and kind of show them how it is that we make some of these viral vectors, and you can take a look at some of the viruses that we're using and that we're testing in the lab.
Let's do it.
Let's take a tour.
Okay. Hi everyone, this is Wyatt, our incredible undergraduate researcher. He's here packaging some of the virus. Wyatt, do you want to introduce yourself and tell the people what you're doing?
Yeah, so currently
I'm sorry. So the research program has several program goals. So first off, as you can tell, our funding impactful research was our first and primary goal. Our second goal was for building a community of top-notch researchers who are engaged in the albinism community. And that is definitely one of the next focuses of our committee. We, as Matt stated, we had our first grant funding cycle all within the very first year of the program. So now we have some time to maybe hold off just a second and get on to this next goal that we have set for ourselves. Our commitment will be to become a leading voice in albinism research through the work of our research program. Funding research to patient-centered and will help develop a greater understanding of albinism. Part of this, and by the way, the 3 award recipients for the 2022 grants did agree that meeting with our community was important. Unfortunately, Dr. Mason was not able to provide a video. However, the videos that were provided will be available online after the conference, and we will have Dr. Mason's video be available online once she is able to submit that for us, just as an update for her work as well. Another part of our commitment is to give the scientific research community a space to meet, and so that will be our scientific research network. And that is a very exciting part because we want to open that to all areas of albinism research. And so we will be doing that within the next several months to start virtual connections. And I'm going to pick on our my fellow NOAA staff member for a second here. Casey, would you stand up, please? Casey Greer is our program support specialist. And she has been organizing our NOAA Connections calls for some time now. And she's doing a fantastic job, but she will also be helping us with this scientific research network. So she will be reaching out and will be providing, I believe it will probably be quarterly calls for the research community to meet and exchange ideas, information, just in an area where it's albinism focused. Anybody else on the board have some comments you'd like to make? Because I think we have some time for questions if we want to make any. Don't all stare back at me like that.
I just think it's a really great time to be involved, and there's so many things that are happening in research, and it's time that we organize ourselves. I'm looking forward to a time in the albinism history and NOAA's history that we have developed our own database, and that we actually send surveys out to you guys and really know what genes you have and what's your top 3 issues, what's the things that bother you the most. And so we're going to be developing those and kind of getting your involvement and your engagement, and if you could spread the word. I think we're preaching to the choir. You guys must be interested in research because you're here. But what we need you to do is to spread the word out there that we need everybody on board. Because that's the role of a nonprofit, is to kind of, aggregate the community, like try to bring us all together and get us kind of the cohorts, the community more defined. And I think that we're going to give you opportunities. There's going to be special opportunities coming your way for involvement. And I know that it's really, in the other meeting we had, somebody brought up the fact that, it's dear to my heart. I felt bad because somebody with albinism was talking about how annoying it is to go to the ophthalmologist and have 5 doctors standing there wanting to look in your eyes. And so you end up having to teach so many people, and it's annoying. So in my community, they get tired of answering surveys, it's like it's getting those questions over and over again. But it is so important. Your story is so important. And while I think like the lesson that we gave in the last session was, you have every right to say, I don't want anybody looking at me but my doctor. That's your patient right. But I beg of you, being a NOAA member, to put up with the surveys and put up with our questions, because that's how we're going to know what's important to you. So that's like the future work that we have kind of planning, and it's going to be so exciting. And we really just need everybody's skin in the game. Literally.
Where's the biopsy clutch?
I was usually
I just want to say, as someone who's worked at the National Institute for a long period of time, I can say that I've interacted with a lot of advocacy groups, and I've seen where dedicated focus on research and certain individuals who promote that opportunities for research involvement have really, a lot of times, been able to make a lot of ground and a lot of connections between researchers. You know, it's very important that all the researchers who spoke to us earlier have a chance to communicate within, or with each other, and share that out to other scientists at very large conventions that we all attend. So I'm really excited that NOAA is doing this, and I hope that it gains a lot of traction and becomes something that everyone promotes as a part of the NOAA community. Well, we all know about.
So if you guys have questions, I think we're a cozy enough group where we can just shout them out. Yes?
Hi, everybody. My name is Jasmine Irvin. I'm a clinical science doctoral student, and my dissertation is actually related to albinism. And so my question is a two-part question. One, is there a plan to expand the research program to include dissertation research or grad student research in this area? And the other part is there a plan to include the social sciences? Because in my process of doing my dissertation, part of the reason I'm doing it is because there is hardly any psychological research being done in our population. So those are my questions.
Okay, everybody hear a question? Okay, that'd be good.
Sure. Yep. All right. As to answer both of your questions, yes. Again, as the program is just in its first year, we are constantly gathering information. Again, as Donna said, there will be a survey, a survey that will be going out to kind of gauge the need of, as you've noted, there's limited research funds available. However, social science research has been a subject of our conversation, and I think that is definitely part and a major part of what our community is looking for, not just the science, but also how it affects us, what we're needing to look at versus how we're going to adjust what science we're looking at.
Next question. If you're waving your hand, I can't see it. So.
Can I just add to that comment? I think there's a lot of work in patient-reported outcomes and quality of life. One thing that I know we've all talked about in the board is how to make sure that the proposals address community engagement. And I think you can see that from the videos. Like investigators, we really want them to be able to be part of this community as well. So, it's not necessarily funding toward your area of research, but it is something I think the board is keenly aware of.
If you have a question, just shout it out. Oh, yes.
So, first of all, I would like to congratulate NOAA for launching this new research program.
Thank you.
I really believe that this is a very, very important program. In a way, to go back to the initial question, why is albinism research so important? I believe that it is very important because there is a huge lack of knowledge, and so if we don't research, we will not expand this knowledge, and to make goals to improve the quality of life of people. And if we, I mean, that's my point of view. I don't know how much you share this point of view, but I think that improving our quality of life is one of the main goals that we are trying to pursue. And so research is a way to improve it. One question I wanted to ask is about, so I see that you've awarded, you selected 3 teams for your awards this year, 2 being US based and 1 being French team. Thank you very much for that. Just so that you know I'm French. And so my question is this, what do you call it, scientific research network, or the network that you want to develop, is it a national network or is it international?
I think that just as we did with our grant awards, we would welcome input from the international community. However, our mission as NOAA is still going to remain in the US and Canada, but our research, I believe, could have that angle for international. Thank you.
Could Antoine introduce yourself by saying,
yeah,
Antoine, could you introduce yourself to everybody?
Maybe I should have started from that. So my name is Antoine Dixon. I am a person with albinism from France, and I am here invited by NOAA. I'm really grateful for that. It's my first NOAA conference. I'm here representing the Global Albinism Alliance, and I will be speaking tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. So I'll miss that session.
Nice plug, Antoine.
So if you don't miss that session, you will hear more about the Global Albinism Alliance project. And maybe I should add also the fact that initially I was just a member of the French Albinism Association called Genessois. And I'm still a member of that association, so I'm sort of wearing a few hats here. And supporting and promoting albinism research is something that we've been doing in France for quite a few years. And so that's why I'm extremely thankful to see that NOAA is also doing this, because I think it's really about being all together, making this effort to improve knowledge through research. So this is something international that cannot remain at the national level, even though there are things to be done internationally. So again, congratulations for this program. I think this is a major step forward for the albinism community.
Thank you.
Oh, yes.
I might have missed this, but what's your source of funding?
You. Oh, sorry.
Cash, credit, stock options. Oh, he does. Last month.
Want me to take that? So we're missing a person here, but we got a very large donation for 2 years from Susan Bayless, and we appreciate that very, very much. And Karen can add to this, you know, in case I'm misrepresenting, but Susan really kicked off the research program for us and gave us enough to fund ourselves for 2 years. And then we need to take the ball on our own, certainly with her help, because she's part of the research program and part of NOAA now, but we're going to need to fundraise for it. So yeah, you is definitely...
She's not wrong.
Yeah.
The funding for the program is also part of why we're here today. Not only to get the word out, we have a program, these are our goals, this is what we've done, but we also, this is the community issue. As the keynote speaker this morning was talking about telling our story, well, so much of our story is yet unknown, and that's what albinism research is about, helping us find some of those unknowns of albinism. And I think the recognition by NOAA and the board of directors and everyone to establish this program was with the knowledge that our community would understand the need for the program. So the funding really is coming from our community. Yes, we have startup funding, and we hope to do some magnificent things with that startup funding, but it's to sustain the program, we will need to establish other sources of funding for this. And again, as a person with albinism myself, I know that my story is unknown. And as we've joked around here all afternoon, I know that I'm not a researcher. I mean, you saw it. I can't even put the sound on my computer. I'm not a researcher.
Well, in fairness.
But I think that we have a great network started here. Our board of scientific advisors, Dr. Brilliant, Dr. Carroll, Dr. Brooks, they have been instrumental in helping us get to this point with our program. They helped us review our initial grant applications, and I think that with their guidance, we can grow that network, we can grow the program, we can get people interested in helping us find the answers and tell our story.
Questions or any thoughts on things you would like to see NOAA's research committee support in terms of research? Or we can go and get out early.
I would just echo the psychosocial aspects of albinism. I think it was a big focus when I was doing my master's thesis, and I totally agree. There's not a lot out there, and I think obviously I'm not the doctor on my background, I'm a child specialist, but you know, it's definitely something that I have a lot of interest in seeing, and it's something that I would love to advocate for. So happy to support the opportunity.
Thank you, Jocelyn. And I just want to point out that it wouldn't have to be a doctor showing up to be part of that network to encourage the ideas and the information. So
I love
thank you.
school and I love research advice.
I hear that.
Yes.
So I actually was wondering too, I mean, as far as things to look into and stuff like that, have you guys even looked into, I know it's kind of a hard subject to think about and stuff, but even, you know, situations with skin cancer and that topic?
Yeah, that's huge.
I don't know where really the initial focus of our grant program was decided. Again, I think it was more of what was already out there that we could look at as far as bringing in the new focus of what our program would fund. That's been kind of, again, a topic for conversation.
You want me to try to answer this question? I'm not representing NOAA. It's a very interesting question. My understanding from exchanging with so many albinism groups from around the world, and particularly from Africa, where fortunately there are so many cases of skin cancer, is that it's not that much about scientific research. We know how to prevent skin cancer. You know, it's very much about education. I think we know how to treat skin cancer most of the time. And so the reason why so many people have skin cancer and unfortunately so many people die from skin cancer is not because of lack of research on how to treat skin cancer. It's more about lack of prevention, lack of education, and the huge issue of access to health, to dermatologists, to surgeons that can treat skin cancers. So, I mean, of course, there could be some research done on epidemiology of skin cancer, but in terms of treatments, I don't know how much this is really the main issue today when it comes to dealing with skin cancer. Well, that's my understanding at this stage.
I think one thing I'm curious about too, that maybe it's like my lack of knowledge too, but I have also heard about, and I wasn't able to ask my question in the session, I was doing something else this afternoon, but I think the detection of skin cancer when there is a pigmentation in NOAHCon, and something that I'm very curious about, maybe there are sources of information about it, but I think like
center had said that I was the first albino that he had treated for years in practice, that I asked the question, what's the strength correlation between albinism and melanoma specifically? Because we know enough about skin cancer in the general population. And he, the doctor explained to me that they were missing a lot of research in that area, in part because they don't have enough subjects to study. And that actually is why when the skin cancer was mentioned, it actually certainly made it into well, I think it's an area that serves some visibility on the But indeed, there's right now the catalog is not worth it, at least with respect to
I think a lot of these things are like really interesting. Certainly the behavioral questions, the skin cancer melanoma questions, like there's a lot to research. It just comes down to we need a lot of money to do a lot of research. So, you know, if we raise it, we can get it out there to the, you know, to researchers, and we're gonna just have to kind of pick and choose a little bit. The good, what we want is really good research. And so when we put out calls for proposals, we're gonna just get the best research that's going. You know, we can kind of guide the proposal in such a way that it answers some questions that we're very interested in. But, you know, the issue comes down to finances and how many proposals, how much research we can actually accomplish.
I'll just add on that note, because my brain is kicking away. Part of that again speaks to the need for the network, that community. So, you know, as we're speaking, I'm thinking about a colleague of mine who does deep learning to use computers to identify melanomas, which is highly related on the data that's extra input. And you brought up a point, there's just not enough cases. So what if we could put out a call and try to find those cases to help inform this research? Again, part of this community and bringing those researchers together. Like, what if we could bring more dermatologists into the conversation that might just help identify cases for that collaborative data network.
Right, at this point, we don't even know how many people with albinism in the NOAA community have had melanoma. Right. We don't know that answer. So much to do. Yeah.
We have a couple questions.
I'd like to know how to encourage more people to want to do research in this area. And I'm wondering whether your group could create certain RFPs with topics that you could even go to different scientific communities and talk. For example, the need for research, you could go to educators, you could go to the ophthalmology conference, you could go to optometry conference, and to actually say, this is what we want to see research on. Because my sense, having run doctoral programs, is that not enough people think about albinism when they're looking for lines of research or even dissertations. In all the years I've done doctoral programs at the University of Texas at Austin and Vanderbilt University, I only had one student who was interested in doing research on albinism. As much as I tried, and I think that thinking about increasing the community of people who are researchers who want to do, who could be interested in doing albinism research is important.
So I think that because we're still such a new program, and we did within our funding, we did line item a grant for new innovations or a pilot project. So to really targeted towards those newer researchers, and being still such a young program, taking in that information about networking opportunities and where to outreach and where to get our message out is super helpful and something that we absolutely take with us as we continue to grow and continue to fundraise. and continue to find new opportunities.
And I just would add that I think as a young program, it's important to get those early wins. You know, if you're looking for a culture change, you want to show success right out the gate. And by having funding projects that are going to be presenting at those large optometry and ophthalmology conferences helps get the word out that we are actually a program and we're funding. So I think it will trickle down.
What I had in mind. Yeah. Because they don't know that there is a research program that is being initiated through NOAA.
Yeah. So hopefully that will start having weaving its tendrils into the community.
Makes sense. Anything else?
If I can just add, it was already said in the web, but I think that promoting research is not just about fundraising and awarding grants, which is of course very important, but it's also about convincing more research teams to develop programs on optimism. And so I think this is also something that has to be worked on. It's not easy to do, but it's important. Maybe I missed that at the beginning of the presentation, but how many project proposals did not get this first scope for So
our recollection 7.
not as many as we'd like to get.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
The other thing that we do is we have very established researchers. I don't want to call them old back there, but established researchers that have students and they have colleagues, like they have young researchers. So if we're able to provide, poster sets, like there's a lot of things that we can do to encourage sustainability and to encourage young investigators. And I think it's with their help too that we can do that.
I guess having money available too is a big motivator if you're wanting to research a particular topic too, and just letting them know that it's available. Okay, we might have time for 2 more questions or research on topics if you want to bring that up. 2 more. If someone's waving their hand, I can't see them. Or we can get out early.
It's all about getting out early, guys. I don't know.
Don't sense of urgency. Yeah, good. Thank you very much.
We do have an email, research@albinism.org, of course, as I mentioned this morning. Our albinism email is currently down, but hopefully that's going to be rectified in 72 hours. So, research@albinism.org will get you to our research committee, and we'd love to continue the conversation with any of you. Thank you.
That's why I said I'm leaving.